Chicago Bears fans have a lot of reason for optimism heading into next season, even before the NFL draft happens. We're going to talk about some of those reasons in this episode. We're also going to talk about and ask the question, should the Chicago Bears be looking to acquire a veteran three tech even before the NFL draft, no matter what they do in that draft? We're going to talk about that. Plus, Mazi Smith being a possible second round selection for the Chicago Bears. We're going to talk about all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
All right, Bears fans, welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. If you want to follow the show, you can do so right off the top at Chi Bears Central. You can also follow me at CEO Haize, that's CEO Haize. And let's go ahead and get into the content for today. So, the Bears right now have a lot of reason for optimism heading into next season, even before the NFL draft. And while I think as fans, I know I do it, I know some of you guys do it, I see it in the comments, we can always think about what has not happened with this team. There are some big reasons for optimism around this team heading into next season. One being Justin Fields and the offense overall. The offense is drastically improved. I know we still have holes that we need to fill on the offensive line. No one's saying that we don't. But when you look at bringing in Nate Davis, when you look at bringing in DJ Moore, when you look at hopefully just the wide receiver core overall being improved and kind of more settling into their natural positions with DJ Moore being a true number one, we have tons of reason for optimism if Luke Getsy is going to also use and play call the correct way and get a little bit more creative with this play calling on this team. So that's one of the reasons. And Justin Fields is a reason alone to be optimistic. Yes, I know some fans have the thought of, well, how much is Justin Fields really going to be able to improve as a passer? He has more weapons, but that offensive line is a little bit shoddy. They're going to address the offensive line in the NFL draft. And I know you don't want to just go off that's being the case until we really have it tangible and we have that new offensive lineman who we're going to draft in there. But there's enough reasons for that. When you look at overall the free agency and the new players and how everything's going to fit, right? The linebacking core that we now have, I think is a huge reason to be optimistic for this team. Yes, still needed work to do on that defensive line. Again, everything's not going to be solved this offseason. We'll see what Ryan Poles does have in store. But the free agent acquisitions and just how active the Bears were in free agency and trading for DJ Moore, it's left a lot of room for optimism with this team. And then what I think is maybe one of the biggest reasons for optimism is Ryan Poles has a vision. Now, I know not everyone quite sees that vision yet because there are some people that are more pessimistic than others. There's some people that until everything is kind of solved and more formalized, it's kind of hard to have that. But having a GM in Ryan Poles that has come in already in his time here and has shown that he has a plan, to show that he has a scheme, to show that he has a mindset over how he's going after these players for the future and the present, it's reason alone to be optimistic for this Bears team heading into the 2023 season. If something is not solved, if a player does not turn out maybe the way that Ryan Poles or the Bears fan base would have wanted them to, there's enough there that we can sit there and say that, hey, we have a GM now, we have a front office, we have tons of things going forward with this team that we just haven't had in years. And so I think that's reason as well for optimism heading into this team. But getting off that and kind of into the more tangible things themselves, when you look at the Bears and the importance of the three tech in this style and scheme that Matt Eberflus has, right? We know we tried to acquire Larry Ogunjobi last season, and we know that there is a potential three tech in this draft that some people might try to steer away from, whatever, but you never know, right? And so the question is, should the Bears go after and try to seal in a veteran three tech, albeit probably not a world beater in any stretch of the imagination? And two names came up in doing that research. One, DeForest Buckner, right? There's absolutely a lot of mindset around that DeForest Buckner from the Indianapolis Colts is a player that could be gotten for the right price. Now, you would have to trade for him. Now, the Bears wouldn't want to trade any, I think, picks in their first 3 rounds. But again, you never know with Ryan Poles. But this is a guy who kind of fits the mold of what Ryan Poles does. Doesn't have too long left on his contract. He's 29 years old. Again, kind of what the Bears and Ryan Poles has gone after. And he's not a world beater. He's solid in the pass, solid in the run game. Not anything amazing. He had 44 tackles last season, 30 assisted tackles as well. He had 8 sacks, which, if I'm not mistaken, would have led the team last season. But he is a veteran three tech that you can bring in. And if you do go interior defensive line in that draft and don't kind of get an edge or whatever, he's a guy who can come in and fit in almost any scheme. He can fit in this scheme. He's played in this scheme before. He's a veteran, like I said, that can just come in and improve that defensive line. Is it what a lot of Bears fans want now, an improvement that they want on the defensive line? No, and I'm not saying that he is. But again, he is somebody that could be gotten and has been rumored that there could be some interest there. The next one up, I think, is a little bit more enticing, and that's Carl Lawson with the New York Jets. Now, the thought process behind him being available for the Bears is that once the Jets do finalize this trade for Aaron Rodgers, which Aaron Rodgers no longer being in the division is another reason for optimism as well, but I didn't want to trigger my petty bone by mentioning him, so it is what it is. But Carl Lawson, if the Jets do end up trading for Aaron Rodgers, they may have to cut some salary cap, and if he is a tax cutting casualty because of them acquiring Aaron Rodgers, the Bears could do a lot worse. He's 27 years old, 6'2, 265 pounds. Again, not somebody who is going to be a world beater, but he did have 33 total tackles last season, 18 solo, 15 assisted. He had 7 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery as well. This guy is somebody who can plug in into your defensive line, and is going to be a scheme fit. It's going to be solid up front and is an improvement over what we had as well, right? That's the biggest thing here. Is everything going to be a home run acquisition? Is everything going to be the acquisition that you then have a starter for the next decade? No, and that's just not realistic. But at times on a football team, you have to make improvements where you can. And if Carl Lawson is cut, he could absolutely be somebody that the Bears could take a look at. Wouldn't cost too much. Could come in, bring a skill set that you have absolutely needed. And again, while not maybe being a world beater by any stretch of the imagination, not being the best player in the world by any stretch of the imagination, can come in and absolutely give you what you need in that area. So, and there are some other veteran 3 techs that also could be available out there. The question I want to throw to you guys with this one: would you want? Do you think that if a 3 tech becomes available, either via a trade that you don't have to give up too much, or is cut by another team? Jeffrey Simons is another one who played 3 tech with the Tennessee Titans last season. But again, we don't know if he's going to be available. But again, do you think that maybe going after a veteran 3 tech, you can wait till after the draft for some of these, and some of these players may not become available to after the draft, and we could still have, it doesn't take away our ability to go maybe after one of those younger promising players as well, bring in some competition. Let me know what you guys think on that down below. But the next topic that I want to talk about, and the next player that I want to talk about, is that it seems like there are some rumors that the Chicago Bears may be circling Mazi Smith in the second round if he falls to them at their pick. And this is a guy who I've covered before in my defensive lineman analysis and things like that. This is a guy that I think if you get him in the second round, he brings tons of value in that second round, in my opinion. You look at him, he played in Michigan last year, interior defensive lineman, 6'3", 326 pounds, comes in, he has the size and strength is legit. It's NFL ready right now. It's ready to go. He's a great run defender. He has huge upside in the pass rush as well. Not really, he's not bad in either spot. You can, with the place, if we had to pick the place he needed the most improvement in, it is that pass rush. But again, we've seen some things from him if you watched him in college that you know he can perform there, right? Great there. Some of the issues with him, sometimes he doesn't have the best arm strength, arm length, it looks like. And then on that as well, he's late getting off the ball at sometimes. So, that's some questions around him. But again, second round picks, you're not going to get a perfect player in the second round. But I do think that with the rumors that the Bears may be circling him and have that interest, if he falls to them there, it makes sense. It makes sense for what the Bears need. It makes sense for the talent level. It's definitely a scheme fit as well. His pressures on the QB in his collegiate season went up from 21 to 25. His run stops went up from 21 to 32 in his final season. And while he did not work out at the NFL Combine, again, this guy has some talent in here. He has really great skill set that the Bears could absolutely use. And again, that he comes at a position of need for the Bears, in a position where we need some depth. So we'll see. I do, I like his skill set, and like I said, you can do a lot worse for him in that second round. And if the Bears do end up going that route, hey, I think it's a good route that the Bears could go. But that's it for me for today. That's my time for today. Thank you for tuning in to another daily episode of Chicago Bears Central. You can make sure you're following the show at Shy Bear Central on every social media platform that we're on. We also have a Facebook group, Chicago Bears Central. We love to see you guys in the group, get some conversation going in there. If you want to send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, chicagobearcentral@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for our Friday mailbag episodes, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related because of you guys. And like to end every episode on, bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.